Welcome to match week 27 of the Premier League. This is the review. I'm going to crack on with everything you need to know from the previous match week. We're starting off strong. We're going straight into it. Liverpool's result against Bournemouth, a 1-0 loss. How good. You love to see it from a neutral, from a Chelsea fan, not from a Liverpool fan, that's for sure. I mean, just when you thought Liverpool were back, they pumped United 7-0. All of a sudden, they produced this against Bournemouth. Struggle to score a goal. I mean, not for the lack of chances, that's for sure. But look, I mean, they mounted a good climb towards the top four spot. They had a chance to get in there, and then they do this. Just not good enough from their end, really, against Bournemouth, who are in the relegation zone right now. They're battling relegation. And, I mean, if you're a Liverpool fan, you'd be disgusted because this should be one of those games. It's 3 points every year against Bournemouth, and you've come up short. Fair play to Bournemouth. They scored pretty early, 28th minute. You know, they were asserting themselves in the game, getting into it, and they've just shocked Liverpool completely. Liverpool had no answer for it. They had numerous attempts, but couldn't break it. But yeah, fair play to Bournemouth. A massive win. I mean, I feel like a lot of the teams in the relegation zone and thereabouts actually picked up some decent results this week, which we'll get into. But, I mean, Bournemouth, hats off to you. Massive win. Liverpool, I mean, it's a bit of a laugh, to be honest, because, as I said, you United 7-0 last week, and then you go and do this. Where's the consistency? That's what I want to know. Leeds, 2-2 with Brighton. We're rolling through them. Fair play to Leeds. It's probably a decent point for them. Again, Brighton playing good football this year, up in, 7th spot now, just looking at the table. So not a bad result coming from behind for Leeds here, twice actually, and getting a 2-2 draw at home. Again, doesn't leave them in the best spot. They're in the relegation zone still, just like Bournemouth, but a point's a point. They're going to be vital. I think there's 9 teams this year or so sitting there who are relegation threatened right now. I mean, Crystal Palace are in 12th, but they're only 3 points clear of 18th place Bournemouth. So it's anybody's to go down this year. And as I said, a point is sometimes more than enough against a team like Brighton. You'll take it. Both had a lot of chances. Jack Harrison, hats off to him. Absolute worldie. What a goal. But yeah, not a bad result for Leeds, I think. Brighton maybe feel like they could have taken more from this game. Again, they're having a very good season. They're sitting just outside the European spots. I do think that might be a little stretch too far for them, with the teams around them probably performing a little bit better consistently. But yeah, look, Brighton, they're having a great season, and there's not much more you can say about them. They're doing it well, and European football could be on the cards if they get it back together, because a couple of results here. They won last week, but draw before that. They've been a little bit inconsistent as of late. So if they can get back to their winning ways, they could mount and climb, that's for sure. And as I said, big teams at the bottom winning. 1-0 for Everton over Brentford. This is probably a result, maybe the shock result of the weekend. I didn't see it happening. I thought Brentford would probably go to Goodison Park and win this game. Not comfortably, but they'd do it. But no, Everton, 1-0 win. Early goal. First minute, actually, Dwight McNeil scoring the opener and the decisive winning goal. So, again, fair play to Everton. That's a huge win. It takes them out of the relegation zone. It takes them up to 15th now on 25 points. Again, only 1 point out, but they'll take that every day of the week. They've got the unbeaten in 2 now. It's not a world beaters, but you need to build some momentum now, and hopefully they can do that, because I don't want to see Everton go down. And do I think they'll go down? Probably not. I think they, out of those other teams there, do have the squad and the desire to stay up. They don't think they've been relegated ever, so that should be a motivation in itself to stay up. And a win like this against a Brentford team who, like Brighton, playing very, very well this year, getting a lot of good results. And again, for Everton, this is a huge result, much needed at the perfect time, and they're going to take this completely. But now I want to get into my boys. Chelsea, we're back. 3-1 into the Champions League quarterfinals. Win here. Unbeaten in 3 wins in a row. How good. We're back. Nah. Look, good win. Very good win. Started well. Played well. Deserved win. Would have liked to keep a clean sheet, but we'll take it. Leicester we're a tricky opponent at times, but I think given the way the game was going, it was a deserved win. Look, there should have been a send-off, that's for sure. Ricardo Pereira, I don't know how he got away with one on his countryman, João Felix, but he didn't even get booked for it, which was shocking. But look, we take it. It didn't affect the result, thankfully. Mikhailo Modric finally got an assist, broke the 007 memes, doesn't happen for him. Ben Chilwell cups his ears against his former side. How good is that? He was copping it like he has been every time he's gone back there, and he shut him up completely. What a strike. Kovacic, obviously, his goal from Modric's assist, that's phenomenal. What a volley. He only scores bangers. And Kai Havertz, Enzo Fernandez, João Felix are forming a little bit of a trio there. A couple of assists now for Enzo Fernandez. I mean, again, you just love to see it. What a signing he's been. And yes, he cost us a lot of money. But if he's playing well, then who cares what he cost, I suppose. Not my money, that's for sure. But yeah, look, 3 wins in a row now. 1 in the Champions League, obviously heading through there. That's massive. And hopefully there's a bit of momentum now for the back end of the season. We've got, 12 games left. We're sitting, just doing the math now, 8.7 points out of the relegation, out of top 4. 9 points, sorry. My maths is not great. Maybe even 11. Whatever it is. I'm not saying top 4's on the cards, but possibly Europa League. But yeah, look, just finish strong, build towards next season would be ideal. We need to string some results together because we haven't been good this season, that's for sure. But hopefully that momentum going from the Champions League result into this game start to get a bit of consistency going. I'd like to see Kai Havertz actually score some goals now, a few more than he usually does. I'd like to see João Felix take more chances and score. I'd love to see Modric get on the score sheet. Just want some consistency from the lads and crack on because it's a good win against Leicester. They haven't been great this season. Again, one of the teams who are in the relegation fight. They've lost 4 in a row, but it's a tricky place to go, the King Power, that's for sure. They've proved to be tricky customers recently. And so this result, take it. Would have liked to see more goals, but 3 will take it. Most have scored in a bloody while, that's for sure. But yeah, that challenge on João Felix, I don't know how it wasn't seen, wasn't looked at, wasn't a red card, and of course we'll get into a big one in a bit. But I just don't know how it's not given. The inconsistency from the referees this season has been pretty abysmal, to say the least. But let's get into another London-based team, or teams, I should say. 3-1 over Nottingham Forest, stock standard stuff. I think Harry Kane double, scoring goals this year, a lot of them. And Heung-min Son, again, I think it's only his 5th or something of the season, so he's having a poor season, but good to see him get on the score sheet here. Could have started the right for Richarlison, who has been, in the media saying he was playing shit. Conte's not given him the time he should be getting. Gets on the score sheet, but ruled out for offside. Would you know, 2 goals this year he scored in the Premier League, taking a shirt off both times. Both were offside and gets 2 yellows. 2 more yellows than he has goals in the Premier League. Interesting stat. But yeah, Nottingham Forest, I didn't expect them to get anything from this game. They were down 3-0 at one stage. It wasn't until the later stage of the game they got a goal back. And again, they're definitely in a relegation fight, that's for sure. They started the season quite strong, and that's kind of what had them out of there. But their form of late has not been good, to say the least. So they're going to need to do something, and quick, because they've spent a lot of money. They've got a massive squad. They need to avoid the drop, that's for sure, because it could be a long time before they come back up again. It could be challenging. But Spurs, it's a big win for them, because with Liverpool, they could have jumped them. Liverpool could have gone ahead of them into 4th, but didn't go their way for Liverpool. So Tottenham have taken that as motivation and got a win, and now extended that gap to 4 points over Newcastle. Yes, Newcastle have a couple games in hand. Liverpool also have a game in hand. But you can only win the games that you've played. You can only count the points that are on the table, and that's it. They're in the 4th spot right now. Can they hold on to that 4th? I don't know. It's going to be a fight towards the end of the season. There's still a lot of games to go, but you have to fancy them. They're out of the Champions League now, so they've got to put all their eggs in this basket, and who knows, they could get that 4th spot. Let's get into Manchester City. It's not the game from this morning. That was mind-blowing, that's for sure. Erling Haaland, 5 goals against Leipzig. What more do you say? 7-0. wiping the floor with them. But this one, challenging game, 1-0, only 1-0 against Crystal Palace. And I feel like this game for City hasn't always gone the way they expected to, but it's not the easiest, most convincing win, but they take it. Erling Haaland goal. It's a penalty. Takes his tally to something ridiculous. I don't even remember. I know he's got 39 in all comps, that's for sure. But yeah, City, they're just keeping the pressure on Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal hadn't played yet at this stage, so it's just keeping the pressure on and just hoping that Arsenal slip up. We'll get into in a bit. They didn't slip up. But yeah, City can't do much more than what's in front of them. They're winning games. And now let's get into Southampton versus Manchester United now. I mean, big talking point here was obviously the Casemiro red card. Seeing a lot of United fans going on saying, how on earth was it a red card? But it's pretty obvious stuff. It's in the rule book. I mean, everybody who knows football knows that's a red card. You can't be going over the top and through someone like that. Yes, he got the ball, fair enough. But again, it's the studs are showing. The follow-throughs, disgusting. And it's a red card every day of the week, twice on Sundays. So United, they feel hard done by. United fans feel hard done by, but you can be having no complaints. It's a red card. And kind of killed all the momentum. Southampton really took it to United here. And yes, I have these scores around the wrong way. I realised that Southampton were the away team, but we moved regardless. Still nil or draw, doesn't matter, doesn't affect the result. And again, United slip up a little bit here. At one point in the title race, maybe just a tiny bit, but now they're finding themselves in a top four race now. Could they slip out of the top four? I don't think so. Still think they're that third best team that they should get across the line, get third spot, get Champions League sorted for next season. They're in Europa League. They could go far in that, could even win it. They've already knocked out Barcelona. But this result here, I mean, they let Southampton come to their ground and almost play them off the park at times. And yes, I know the red card changed things, but when you're a club of United stature, even with 10 men, you should still be, I wouldn't say, dominating a team like Southampton, but you're creating chances and, should be doing a lot better. But on the other side of things, how on earth United didn't get a penalty at least, if not two, is mind-blowing. That handball, I mean, it's a handball. It's a penalty. Wasn't given. And you could, as I said, you could say United fans feel hard done by, but the Casemiro challenge was a red. This one was missed. It should be a handball. They should have had a penalty. And it does change the complexion of the game because at that point, they probably go on to win it. They take the lead and they win. And it's late. But what can you do? I don't know. I'd feel for that challenge in itself, for that handball, I'd feel very hard done by as a United fan. But the red card, again, is a big talking point. And for me and a lot of people, and most people, it's a red card and you can have no complaints about it. But United, they won't take this point because it's at home. But Southampton, I mean, they're bottom of the table right now. They're actually forming a little bit of consistency, getting a few points on the board and could find themselves, I mean, if they get a couple more wins, getting out of the relegation zone. So fair play to them. I hope they stay up again. One of the teams I like to see in the Prem. And Romain Sellers, if he keeps them up, that's a very good finish to the season because, yeah, Ralph left him in a way. Nathan Jones probably made it even worse. So fair play if he can keep him up, Sellers. And he might just do that. West Ham versus Aston Villa. Now, Battle of the Clarets. I mean, I feel like these two teams play each other a lot. I mean, it was even worse when Burnley was there in the Prem. 1-1 draw, though, is what it reads. Doesn't leave West Ham in a good spot. Sitting in 17th, just avoiding the drop on goal difference. Far better goal difference, but on goal difference nonetheless. Against an Aston Villa team who have really kicked into gear since Unai Emery has come in. They're sitting in 11th, and they're that team that have kind of, the gap has built up between them and the relegation fight, 12th place team and below. So Aston Villa safe as nails, I think now. West Ham real scrappy, very worrying if you're a West Ham fan, and it's weird because you went from a few seasons ago when you were almost going down. And then you build a few good seasons. You have some good seasons. You get into European football. You're in Europa League. I mean, Conference League. We're in Conference League this year. Losing a final last year, and then they go and put up this. And if they get relegated and somehow win the Conference League, that's laughable. Be funny to see, that's for sure. But they need to fix themselves because they're not too good to go down. They're not too good to go down, that's for sure. I don't think Everton were either. I don't think they will go down, but I don't think any team's too good to go down. It could happen. But maybe luckily for them, there's a couple worse teams off. But we'll see. We'll see. It's a big end to the season, that's for sure. 12 games to go, as I've said. So we shall see. Now let's get into the league leaders, unfortunately. Arsenal 3-0 winners over Fulham, absolutely put them to the sword from minute 1 to minute 90. Scored an early goal, was ruled out for offside. Then they go and score next to a few minutes later. And then again. And then just before halftime, Martin Odegaard wraps it up. 3-0, job done. Yeah, you're taking your 3 points home before even halftime has come. The second half was a bit stale. But again, Arsenal had done the job. And I think that the 3 points were wrapped up and they could kind of kick their feet up a little bit and make sure they avoid no injuries and the likes like that. Big talking point, obviously, Leandro Trossard, hat-trick of assists in the first half. That's wild. He's been a phenomenal signing for them. He didn't cost them too much. His reinforcements, he's even managed to bench Eddie Nketiah, and now he's starting in the striker spot. The only thing would obviously be Gabriel Jesus coming off the bench this game for the first time since November. He's back from injury. Will he get his starting spot back? I'm not sure, but that remains to be seen. But it's just depth at the end of the day. They've got depth now. They've got Trossard, who's firing on all cylinders. Jesus coming back. Eddie Nketiah, who's been a bit absent of recent weeks, but has had a decent season as well in his position and in Jesus' absence. But yeah, Arsenal, they've got all the tools. They keep knocking on every door that comes their way. And again, until that next game against City, I mean, it's looking good for them, that's for sure, because this coming up week, City have Liverpool, and if they drop points there, Arsenal could find themselves with an 11-point gap before they meet each other. Which, I mean, I think 11 points with 12 games to go, 11 games to go should be enough to win the title. I think the 5 points clear now. Anything can happen, but yeah, Arsenal looking the goods. It's almost like they don't want to slip up. They don't look like they're going to slip up. So we shall see. It's going to be a good end to the season, that's for sure. But fair play to Arsenal. I mean, Fulham, take nothing away from them. They're having a great season. They have lost 2 in a row, though, however. So to avoid slipping down the table, they need to get a couple more wins back and get back firing. And now we finish off with the team that is back in European football as of this week. Newcastle 2-1 over Wolves, left it late, but they got that winner. And I think it was the first time all season that they have had someone equalise on them, and then they went on to win it anyway. So Miguel Almiron back with a bang after being a bit absent last few weeks. Alexander Isak with a goal. And yeah, fair play to Newcastle. They've turned it around because they had a very bad spell there. 5 or so games, I think, without a win. And they're still sitting in fifth spot, which you wouldn't believe because, as I said, they've been a bit poor of recent weeks, pretty much since the World Cup. But they're still grinding out results. They're still getting results. And they're still sitting very high in the table. Is Champions League on the cards for them? Yes, definitely, because they've got 2 games in hand over Spurs. They can go above them by about 3 points if they win both. I mean, it's definitely doable. I don't think they'll get. I think they'll just miss out. I think Europa League is probably theirs, or maybe even 6th. But we shall see. It'll be interesting end to the season. Wolves, however, they are in that relegation battle fight, which is wild because, again, 13th in the ladder, you'd think safe as houses, but they're not. They've got to be careful because results like these, you get it back to 1-1 and then you give up a goal pretty much, 9 minutes later, going into the nitty-gritty end of the game. You got to do better, I think. You've got to do a lot better, even at St James's Park, which I've heard is a wild place to go. But look, that's going to pretty much wrap up the week. Next week will be big. We've got the City-Liverpool game to look forward to. If you're still watching, please give us a subscribe, give us a watch, give us a follow, whatever. Recommend us to whoever, because we come with Premier League every single week. Reviews, myself, Tony is here, everybody's here. Just come along for the fun, and thank you for joining me. I'll see you again next week.